Jæja, komið hjartalega velkomin á þennan viðburð í Norðurland, þar sem að teymin 7, þar sem 7 teymi munu kynna verkefni sín fyrir dómnefnd.
Já, við erum bara ótrúlega spennt, þetta er búið að vera frábær helgi og margt búið að gerast og allir búin að læra heilmikið. Þannig að við erum bara, í rauninni bíðum bara eftir að fá að heyra kynningarnar frá þessu flotta fólki sem er búið að vinna hörðum höndum núna bara í 48 klukkutíma að hugmyndinni sinni.
Já.
Er það ekki?
Ég er að lenda í einhverju smá vandræðum með glæruna. Afsakið þetta.
Dómaraglæruna.
Já, ég ætla að kynna dómnefndina. Þetta er nú eitthvað skrítið hérna hjá mér. Má ég sjá. Þetta er skrítið. Ég ætla að fá að kynna dómnefndina fyrir ykkur. Má ég sjá. Ekki fallir farar heill, eitthvað svoleiðis.
Jú, þetta kemur.
Þetta kemur allt saman. Þarna eru þau.
Það er fólkið.
Fáið þið hérna að sjá dómaraglæruna. Með okkur í dag er algjört stórskotalið.
Já, heldur betur. Ekkert
smá,
já, þetta er bara frábært fólk sem er hérna komin með okkur á Zoom og er bara tilbúið að gefa okkur smá tíma á sunnudegi til þess að hlusta á kynningarnar og við erum bara ótrúlega þakklátt fyrir það, bara bestu þakkir fyrir öll sömur. Við erum hérna með hana Rannveigu Björnsdóttur sem er dósent við auðlindadeild Háskóla Akureyrar, Huld Magnúsdóttir, framkvæmdastjóri Nýsköpunarsjóðs atvinnulífsins, Haraldur Hallgrímsson, forstöðumaður viðskipta- og þróunardeildar hjá Landsvirkjun, Brynja Laxdal, ráðgjafi og fyrrum verkefnastjóri Matarauð Íslands og Hanna Snjólaug Ólafsdóttir sem er yfir verkefnastjóri á sviði sjálfbærni hjá á Íslandi sem er svona nýtt verkefni sem er mjög spennandi að fylgjast með því líka. En bara, erum við nokkuð að bíða eftir einhverju?
Nei, nú ætlum
við bara að
hefja leika. Fyrsta teymið til að kynna lausnina sína er Environmental Control for Optimized Resource Usage. Og það er hann Tómas sem ætlar að taka sér við. Gjörðu svo vel.
Jú, takk. Sjáðu ekki glærurnar?
Jú.
Glæsilegt. Ég ætla að kynna á ensku. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be presenting the environmental control for optimized resource usage. My name is Tómas Helgi Hjartarson. So, the problem. It is minimization of input and maximization of output in the agriculture sector of growing fruits and vegetables in an autonomous way. So the problem, the development of a viable agricultural production system should then aim at selecting production systems with the lowest cost of external input per unit output. So my solution is based on being a data-driven artificial intelligence monitoring system, which is a software-based approach to take over or complement current control systems in industrial scale controlled environments. The aim is to minimize input, so the resources which is being used, and maximizing the output, the edible produce. This allows for lower cost per produce to the customer. The timing of the project would start off by exploring different algorithm approaches, not inventing the wheel, and there is a requirement to measure both input and output of the system. The output measurement is a more technical difficulty, given that there are many types and you would need to choose which one is the most efficient. And then the problem is, can I generalize the data between greenhouses to greenhouses? Can I take one greenhouse, measure the data, and use it to train an algorithm in a different one? The data collection in the project would be the bottleneck and is the key element to success of the project. And then you would go into software development and go through architecture and parameter optimization, and then you'll have to experiment. Estimated result in this project is, with respect to data collection, is early 2023. The project here is a part of a larger project, will be presented later, but it will become an independent once functioning. I'm a bachelor electrical engineer from University of Iceland, and I'm a plant hobbyist since 2015 in the science behind plants, and my family owns a greenhouse in Akureyri. My interest lies within machine learning and artificial intelligence, and then I have some engineers outside the project who will be assisting me. Why now? Well, plant models are very complex. They have high correlation between every single environmental variable that comes in, so it's very difficult to control. Our resources are valuable and they are limited. We want to minimize this and maximize the output. Has it been proven? Yes, it actually has been proven. There was a research going on, more say a competition between 5 data-driven AI algorithms in the Netherlands, where they were competing against professional cherry tomato growers and their current systems, and they all proved to be more efficient and more sustainable than current controls. The business model has not been looked into, to be decided. Customers is anyone that produces in an industrial scale with control of the environmental variables. Our idea would lie in making it easy for the customer, having a package. They can just buy it. We have the sensors and the software. Meaning, but we'll look into if there's a greenhouse that wants to use it that already has sensors. Our possible revenue streams would maybe be a one-time payment or a monthly or yearly license to the software. My idea is to bring Iceland into a lead in agritech technology, where the Netherlands is one of the most advancing ones. And we already have so much automation knowledge within Iceland, and it's mainly focused on the fish and poultry. So I would want to see that moved into the agricultural sector. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Then I have a slide of the references that I use.
Takk kærlega fyrir Tómas. Þá ætlum við að gefa dómaranum orðið. Gjörðu þið svo vel.
Ég kannski má ég spyrja á íslensku, Tómas?
Já, gjörðu svo vel.
Ég svona aðeins að velta fyrir mér, þetta eitthvað öðruvísi heldur en þessi hátækni sem núna í gangi eins og hjá Vaxa eða Nordic Wasabi og svo framvegis?
Ég veit náttúrulega ekkert alveg 100% á hvað þeir eru að nota, en það hefðbundin pitstýring sem mjög oft notuð og hún hefur alveg reynst ágætlega.
Ok, þetta þá eitthvað aðeins öðruvísi? Þinn hugbúnaður?
Já, hugbúnaðurinn byggist á tauganetum.
Ok. Og hverjir eru fleiri með þér í teyminu? Ertu einn?
Eins og ég einn, en ég með svona bak við tjöldin nokkra sem vita svolítið mikið stýringar.
Ok, takk.
Já, þetta eru fleiri sem vilja spyrja.
Já, hvernig ætlar þú með þinn hugbúnað að keppa við Hollendingana sem eru nú búin að koma ansi langt í þessu? Hvernig getur þú og íslensk startup fyrirtæki, hvað komum við með sem þau eru ekki með?
Það náttúrulega bara í raun að það verður alveg mjög erfitt að keppa á móti Hollendingunum, því þeir eru með svo ógeðslega mikið af svona fólki sem í þessu og við erum eiginlega. Ég persónulega veit ekki mikið af fólki sem að vinna í þessu hérna á landinu og það væri bara gaman að færa þessa tækni innanlands og það verður alveg mjög erfitt að keppa á móti þeim.
Og ég kannski bæta við spurningu Rannveig, myndavélin mín virkar ekki einhverja hluta vegna, þið afsakið það. Hvað öðruvísi við þessa tækni sem þú ert að kynna fyrir okkur og það sem Hollendingarnir að gera? Ertu að taka þetta skrefi framar eða ertu að gera eitthvað öðruvísi eða ertu að hugsa nákvæmlega eins og þeir? Eða?
Ég myndi segja að maður svona eiginlega í byrjun þá eltistur við þá og svo reynur að bæta og komast örlítið lengra. Þeir eru náttúrulega komnir alveg ótrúlega langt í þessu. Þannig að það nota svona upplýsingarnar sem þeir eru að opinberlega sýna og kannski að vinna út frá því. En svo byggist þetta náttúrulega bara á hvernig þú setur upp vandamálið. Hollendingarnir settu fram mörg tauganet og stjórna hverju einustu breytu og voru að segja að það væri til dæmis betri lausn heldur en að taka bara eitt stórt módel sem sér allt saman.
Glæsilegt. Takk kærlega fyrir, Tómas. Þá ætla ég að kynna hérna næsta teymi á sviðið og það er Space Research and Innovation Center in Northern Iceland. Daniel, gjörðu svo vel.
Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. I'm joining you from our habitat here. What you see behind me is actually a design that was put together with insight from the NASA Johnson Space Center and led by a design team at the Rhode Island School of Design led by Professor Michael Lai, who we've been working with on the development of both spacesuit simulators and habitats here in Iceland. I'm going to share my screen now. Let me see there. Okay. Very good. All right. And we'll just present. There we go. So Iceland Space Agency, what is it and why? Well, we all know that Iceland is a wonderful place, location for movies, for science fiction movies, Interstellar, Oblivion, and of course, Star Wars. And many of you probably also know that in 1965 and 1967, the NASA original Apollo astronauts came here to Iceland and visited the area north of Askja, south of Húsavík, in order to do geological survey work and analog research here in Iceland. And since then, NASA has been back, specifically testing the rovers. Currently, the Perseverance rover, the software and navigation systems were tested, and research has been conducted for years here in Iceland's many terrestrial analogs, which are areas that simulate the environments of both the moon and Mars. Here we have a composite image, one from NASA and one from our Ice Age VR1 expedition, which was testing the MS-1 Mars analog spacesuit, which was created for astronaut training. The backdrop there is Vatnajökull Glacier. We teamed up in 2018 with Professor Herb Enns from the University of Manitoba to assess all the analog sites here in Iceland and to do site survey work for facilities that could one day be facilities of an Iceland Space Agency to develop the infrastructure for Iceland, because Iceland certainly can play a very important role in the future of space exploration globally. So we looked at a number of different sites all over Iceland. And one of the more interesting sites that was chosen by one of the architecture students, Thomas Knighton, was Lofthellir lava tube in the north. And so with the dialogue that we had with this architecture studio class, each one of the students spent about 6 months doing site survey, concepting, and ultimately modeling of potential research sites all over Iceland. And as a habitat and research facility is a priority for a future Iceland Space Agency to really contribute to this global dialogue, I felt it was important to share this work and to begin the dialogue of how we can ultimately make this happen. With the Artemis Accords, which is the NASA policy to broker international relationships, there's a tremendous opportunity for the terrestrial analogs here in Iceland to be utilized for the testing and research that would ultimately allow us all to have successful missions on both the moon and Mars, and for Iceland to play an instrumental part in that research and human exploration. I'm going to leave us with this video from our Ice Age VR1 expedition. We partnered with a number of local companies, Arctic Trucks, Glacial Journey, and worked very closely with Professor Michael Lai and his team to do the human factor research necessary for these successful missions. And we believe that Northern Iceland can play a fundamental part in the success of human exploration of space, going back to the moon and eventually to Mars. Thank you all for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Glæsilegt, takk, Daniel. Dómarar, má bjóða ykkur að spyrja spurninga?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks
Yeah.
for the presentation.
My pleasure.
Very interesting project. What is the relation of this project to kind of food, water, and energy in Northern Iceland?
So with regards to food, energy, and water, all of these aspects are fundamental to successful missions on the moon and Mars. So there's an area of research and development called in situ resource utilization, which is the utilization of natural resources for sustainable use over long periods of time. And with regards to the geothermal energy in the north, underutilized geothermal energy, and also with regards to food production, vertical farming, hydroponics, and new technologies being developed here in Iceland can really be leveraged successfully for space research and innovation. And we believe the North can play an important role in that innovation.
I have one question. What about funding? This is a very ambitious project.
It is. We've been developing these concepts for over 3 years and working with numerous partners, both in terms of foreign space agencies. We have support from researchers working with NASA and the European Space Agency. Ultimately, this will need to be a public and private collaboration. And that's really also a template for what's happening contemporarily in the space sector. So I'm sorry. So getting back to the funding, certainly it will need to be a public and private partnership. There are many grants available through RANIS in terms of the infrastructure grant that just passed, Technology Development Fund, as well as Horizon 2020 European grants. But this will also need private investment as well. And so we think that this public-private partnership makes a lot of sense and certainly is within the national interest of Iceland to develop the space sector and all the stakeholders here in Iceland who can really benefit and play a big part in the future of space exploration.
Thank you. Are you a resident here?
I am, yes. My wife and daughters are Icelandic. Unfortunately, my Icelandic skills are still coming slowly.
Thank you.
Glæsilegt. Takk kærlega fyrir, Daniel.
My pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Það ætla ég að kynna næsta verkefni sem að mun birtast okkur hérna á skjánum. Það Grænland, keld hverft kjöt af vel grónu landi. Gjörið þið svo vel.
Góðan daginn, ég ætla að setja hérna í svona. Já. Verkefni okkar sauðfjárrækt og lambakjötsframleiðslu. Verkefni hefur yfirskriftina Grænland sem stendur fyrir framleiðslu á vel grónu landi. Vandamálið að kolefnisspor sauðfjárræktar á Íslandi stórt. Landnýting sauðfjár víða umdeild meðal almennings og síðustu áratugi hefur neysla lambakjöts dregist sífellt saman per einstakling eða helming á 40 árum. Lausnin vörumerkið Grænland sem með vottun Og fyrsta skrefið að taka fyrir það sveit sem í hvað bestri aðstöðu til að vera brautryðjandi. Og þess vegna tökum við Kelduhverfi fyrir. Þetta verður svo vonandi upphafið að sams konar þróun í öðrum landshlutum þar sem aðstæður eru svipaðar. Og við höfum rætt við fagfólk á sviði landnýtingar varðandi vottunarferlið og þeir eru sammála okkur að hugmyndin sé ákaflega góð og verkefnið geti markað ákveðin tímamót.
Tölurnar úr gagnagrunnum Íslands tala sínu máli. Við erum með 90% beitilands vel gróið og til mótvægis við þessi 3–5% af framræstu votlendi í Kelduhverfi er mikið friðað land í Vatnajökulsþjóðgarði, landgræðslugirðingum og skógræktargirðingum á vegum bænda. Við þessar aðstæður teljum við að keltneskt lambakjöt ætti að geta verið kolefnishlutlaust og jafnvel kolefnisjákvætt þegar það kemur á disk neytanda. Markaðurinn er til staðar eins og sést á glærunni. Þetta eru niðurstöður úr óformlegri markaðskönnun 2 hlutlausra hópa á Facebook.
Já, og hvort viljið þið hlusta á deilur í fjölmiðlum eins og þær sem spruttu upp eftir sýningu þáttar Stjörnusævars landnýtingu eða viljið þið heyra lausnir sem eru byggðar á jákvæðni? Og við ætlum með okkar verkefni að stækka lambakjötsmarkaðinn. Við ætlum að ná til nýrra viðskiptavina og jafnvel þeirra sem hafa hætt að kaupa lambakjöt vegna þess að geta einfaldlega ekki valið kjötið eftir ástandi beitilanda eða kolefnissporinu. Og matvælaframleiðsla á náttúrulega snúast þarfir neytenda og sjálfbæra framleiðslu. Og það á að gera það þannig að allir græði, líka sauðfjárbændur í Kelduhverfi. Og við viljum gera þetta með þannig fókus á okkar auðlindir, okkar tækifæri og kosti en alls ekki á ókosti annarra. En sjálfbærnin er náttúrulega mjög stór áskorun fyrir framleiðslu lambakjöts við heimskautsbaug. En við trúum því að sauðfjárræktin verði að breytast eða bara verða undir í samkeppninni. Og einhver þarf að vera í fararbroddi og við bara hreinlega vitum að Kelduhverfi er besti staðurinn til að byrja á, því hérna höfum við allar forsendur til staðar. Okkar takmark að haustið 2022 þá geti neytendur keypt vottað grænlamb frá öllum sauðfjárbændum í Kelduhverfi. Og við erum 3 sem að skipum þetta teymi og ætlum að keyra þetta verkefni áfram. Og við erum allar sauðfjárbændur í Kelduhverfi. Við höfum starfsreynsluna, við höfum háskólamenntun, kjarkinn, viljan og þekkinguna til þess að leiða sauðfjárframleiðsluna áfram í þessa átt. Takk kærlega fyrir. Takk það ekki.
Takk kærlega fyrir. Þá ætlum við að hleypa dómaranum að með spurningar. Gjörðu þið svo vel.
Takk, já, ég er með einu spurningu. Ég velti fyrir mér að þú sagðir vottað grænlamb. Hver er staðan á því? Eru þið komið með alveg hvað það á að þýða að vera vottað grænlamb?
Sú vinna í rauninni eftir. Við erum að fara að funda með þessum aðilum sem við tölum fagaðilum, landgræðsluna og aðra bara núna eftir helgina. Til þess að við nákvæmlega votta, að vita hvernig við eigum fyrsta lagi bara að framkvæma vottunina og hvað ná líka að þýða, því hún þarf náttúrulega að vera alveg pottþétt. Og við gerum okkur grein fyrir því að vottunin á gróðurfarið sjálfsagt að vera auðveldari, það liggja alls gögnar fyrir til staðar. En aftur með kolefnisspori það náttúrulega miklu flóknari útreikningar og meira á bak við það.
En það ætti að koma inn í ykkar lista, kolefnissporið?
Já.
Ég var akkurat með sömu spurningu og vil bara hrósa ykkur að hugsa svona í lausnum og taka á skarið. Það er akkurat rétt attitútið. En ég held að það er erfiðara kannski að fá vottun. Þið eru kannski meira að tala gæðastimpil frekar vottuna, því vottun þarf að fara í gegnum faggildingaraðila, ekki satt?
Jú, það einmitt þetta vinnuferli sem við höfum eftir að móta.
Okay.
Og gerum okkur grein fyrir því að það er mjög flókið og mikið að fara í gegnum hreinlega vottunarferli eins og til dæmis svansmerkið og annað. Þetta er margt á bakvið, en við höfum hugsað að það myndi þá fylgja, það væri handbók sem að þeir sem ætla að nýta sér þetta vörumerki myndu fara eftir og uppfylla.
Gæðahandbók.
Já.
Flott, takk.
Heyrðu, hérna má ég spyrja, eitt er vottun og það er nokkuð spennandi verkefni, en annað er sko hvernig þú vekur athygli á því og aðgreinir eitthvað á markaði. Eru þið með innan ykkar teymis eða hafið þið hugsað fyrir sko svona markaðsmálum og hvernig kom smásölu og slíku?
Ég hef aðeins reynslu af því, ég hef sjálf verið að selja lambakjöt frá 2015, frá mína framleiðslu. En já, við erum ekki komið með neitt sérstakann markaðsstjóra í teymið, en eins og ég segi, við erum komið innsýn inn í þá vinnu.
Og við fengum alltaf mjög marga punta frá mentorun einmitt í þessa sem við getum nýtt okkur. Það er bara ekki, okkur vannst ekki tími til að kafa djúpt í þetta.
Glæsilegt, þá spurningum lokið. Takk kærlega fyrir.
Mér langar að benda ykkur líka á samtök smáframleiðenda matvæla. Þeir gætu reynst ykkur hérna.
Já, við töluðum með við Oddný sem mentor.
Ok.
Já.
Glæsilegt, þá ætla ég að bjóða næsta teymi til okkar. Það Ísponika.
Ísponika.
Gjörðu svo vel.
Ísponika, já. Share my screen. All right. Perfect. Well, my name is Amber Monroe, and I'm really excited to share this project with you. The project's name is Ísponika. Ísponika's mission is really simple: to grow fresh food for the local communities with sustainability in mind. Namely, with the idea of localized food production, there's less of a distance to transport food. There's more of a connection to the food process. These are just Ísponika's goals, to grow locally. So what is Ísponika? Ísponika is an aquaponics vertical farm. If you're not sure what, let me see if I can, I was going to minimize that. Okay. So aquaponics itself is a way of using fish waste to produce crops. So the way it works is that, you start with the fish, they're producing waste. You have these good nitrifying bacteria that convert the waste into plant food. And then the plants are actually filtering out that water. They're recirculating it back into the tank to go back into the fish. So it's a nice self-contained system. This isn't a new technology, actually. This has been around actually since the ancient Aztecs, going as far back as that. But of course, we've modified it a bit now to fit modern times. The benefit of this is that you can produce fish and plants at the same time. But Ísponika's emphasis is on plant cultivation. We have a lot of good fishing and fisheries in Iceland. So maybe at a later date, we can add in fish production, but that's not the main goal right now. So behind Ísponika, I just wanted to briefly introduce myself. I wanted to be an aquaponic farmer for over 10 years, almost 15 years. I'm currently an aquaculture student at Holar University, and I've done research in agriculture, in aquaponics and hydroponics. So this has really come full circle for me to be doing this kind of a project. Holar itself, which is the location of Ísponika, is a small community. We have between maybe around 100 to 200 people, depending on the time of year. These are just some of the organizations and businesses that we have in Holar. We have the university, primary school, church, restaurants, soon to be Ísponika, beer club, Holarlax, which is a Bleikja breeding program. And then we also have the Icelandic exhibition for horses. So it's a small, close-knit community. And we do our best to support each other here because we are so small. So Ísponika's status is that we have, or I have connected with the university to lease a room in this building here. So this is coming into Holar, and you can see the building here. This used to be a former cow barn, but the room that I'm going to be renting or leasing from the facility used to actually be an aquarium, which is incredibly lucky because all of the setups are there, and I have permission to actually use the setups for this. So I'm moving forward with prepping this area. Customer base, so primarily focusing on Skagafjörður, working, in Holar. I'm dividing it into phase 1 and phase 2. So phase 1 is that I'll be focusing more on wholesale products. It's just easier to sell things live to the local communities. and then moving more into grocery stores into phase 2 because there's packaging and just more steps to be taken. So there's been a couple of product requests, salads, herbs, microgreens. There's potential to maybe in phase 2 introduce a produce box, which could be a lot of fun. Just directly talking with the community about the things that they're interested in. But these are the main feedback that I've gotten from people that they're interested in. As far as innovation goes, there's a lot of really cool software out there. I've actually have an account now with Aquaponics AI that sends you alerts to your phone, to your computer to let you know if something is going on with your systems, which prevents crop loss and any issues. So that's one way we're moving forward with technology. Community outreach, I've got a lot of ideas about how Iceland can integrate into the community, whether it's in education or just increasing food accessibility, working with organizations to increase that food accessibility, and also in education. Maybe it's through agritourism classes or connecting with local schools. A lot of potential here with this, and I'm really excited about the ideas that other organizations might have where we can collaborate. So now there's really only one thing that's left to do. Let's grow. Thank you.
Takk kærlega, Amber. Gjörðu þið svo vel, dómarar, að spyrja spurninga.
Thank you, Amber, for your presentation. Can you tell us about your team?
Yeah, so right now I'm mostly functioning on my own. I'm the main team leader of this, but the community itself has been really supportive with helping to push this project along, whether it's through helping with the initial setup, giving business advice. So it's really been kind of actually a community effort to get this going, which has been great, but I'm just kind of at the front of it, kind of doing the paperwork side of things, you know what I mean? Yeah, but I hope that as Iceland grows, there's definitely potential to bring in new employees into the business. And I've run some numbers on that. I've created a financial plan of what that could look like, how to bring in those team members and what we would have to grow to offset the cost of bringing in new team members.
I have one question. Well, if you're, I don't know how long you tend to stay in Iceland, and who will be operating this project if you move away.
Yeah, so that's a good point. And I could definitely spend all day talking about this. I was just trying to do a quick summary, but I have no plans to go anywhere. I love Iceland. I love Hólar. I mean, I've definitely found what I feel is my forever home. I love this little community, and I can definitely see this going further. And I hope that one day, if I ever leave for whatever reason, that it's set up in such a way that it can keep giving back to the community even after that. That's my goal. Long term, for sure. But I'm not planning to go anywhere. I love it here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have time for one more question? Okay, great. You talk about phase 1 and phase 2.
Yes.
So how much crops do you see that you can produce in phase 1?
Oh, in phase 1, yeah. So if I'm able to completely maximize the space, annually, I could produce around 2 to 3 tons. It just depends on what exactly, how fast I can get going. And of course, in a new setup, in a new system, there's going to be some challenges that come with that. You have to learn how to maximize that system. But if it's effective, at least in the first room that I'm renting or that I'm starting in, at least several tons annually. And then the second phase, which is the upper floor of the building. I didn't really get to go too much into that, but there's 2 floors. And the second floor is actually 3 times the size of the first floor. So it would greatly increase the amount that you could grow in that space, as well as the height of the crop. So if we wanted to explore crops that need more space, the actual vertical clearance is higher on the second floor. So we could produce more that way too. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
So in continuation, what is the consumption in the area? You're talking about target area in Skagafjörður.
Yeah.
How much do they import of vegetables over there?
Oh,
do you know?
So I actually don't. That's a good point. So I've just mostly been doing some visual observations, going to the local stores, seeing where they're coming from. And I have to say, I don't know the percentage, I'm just going to be honest, but the number of products that we see at the store are not even from Iceland. So there are a few items that are grown in Iceland, like we get some access to some tomatoes, some cucumbers, sometimes salads, but in our local area, it seems like most everything is actually foreign. And that's actually something I should look into, what the actual number is. This is just based on visual observations. Yeah, there's room for improvement there, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Amber. Þá það næsta teymi á svið, það automated container farms. Gjörðu þið svo vel.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Valentina. I will talk about project automated container farms, which is, can you actually see the slides right now? I'm sorry.
Yes.
You can see the slides, awesome. I'm gonna talk about automated container farms, which is a project of Icelandic company called Surova. Surova stands for Sustainable Robotic Vertical Agriculture. And I want to first dive into the problems. Looking at the food supply chain, it's extremely extensive. We are generating so much food waste because we are collecting the crops too early. We are imposing them to a lot of chemical treatment. They travel overseas. Sometimes they first have to travel abroad just to be packaged because it's cheaper to package them in another country. And it's crazy to imagine like how long the food has to travel to come to us. And by the time it gets to Iceland, I guess many of you have been experiencing that avocado is already, kind of degenerated inside, or the plums that you buy have been not properly stored and you cannot eat them anymore. They have been overfrozen. We really want to solve the problems of the food supply system, and we want to reduce the CO2 impact from this extensive transportation route, from the food waste. And we also want to bring the variety of local produce, because currently in Iceland there is a lack of variety in food produce. We do produce some salads and vegetables, but they're actually more expensive than the imported goods. So we want to fix the prices as well. And pests, it's another large topic and a huge problem in the agricultural industry. So what Surova wants to do is to create fully automated farms that are based on hydroponics. It's a non-soil growing method. And our containers are portable. They can be vertically scalable. We can actually grow vegetables on the side of food retailers, and they can order the produce, how much they need, and harvest it daily or bi-daily. And that way we can answer the consumer demand. And because we not only cut the food supply chain, we also going to use artificial intelligence system, the one that Thomas explained earlier today. And that system will help us to optimize the resource usage and to minimize the input of resources, and also maximize the plant growth and the frequency of harvest. And according to our estimates, we actually do cut costs. Adopters of our containers can break even in around a year. I have to check the latest estimate. And and that is considering the current rates on the market. And we increase the freshness and quality of the produce, because it can be harvested in Egilsstaðir or in northern Akureyri, and people can just go and take the salad that has been harvested just early this morning in the previous day. And our customers are grocery stores and food wholesalers. We have already been talking to some potential customers. They like our idea, and we're also targeting any other large consumers, probably food courts and schools, the ones that can serve large groups of people. If you look at our timeline, we're mostly going to rely on grants and funding right now, because optimistically, we're looking at the first revenue by the end of maybe 22, I would even say beginning of 2023, when we start selling our environmental control system as a separate product to greenhouses and other enclosed growing environments. But actual containers, we are looking into selling them probably end of 2023 or beginning of 2024, when we actually have a fully scale tested container. And yeah, that is also reflected in our business model, that our first cash flow actually comes probably only in 2 years, and we can get financially sustainable, at least according to current estimates, only in a few years from now. We have a very skillful and ambitious team. We have mechanical engineers, electrical engineer, and we are just driven by making this planet a better place and driven by bringing food security. And we really want to increase the freshness of goods in Iceland, and just for Icelanders to have access to fresh produce, not only in the capital area, but just around the island. And we are really confident that we can make Sorova happen.
Thank you, Valentína. Gjörðu þessu vel, dómnefnd.
Kannski Valentína ekki með myndavélina.
Valentína, can you turn on your camera?
Oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't have it turned on. I was pretty sure I did. Let me just quickly find a way to stop sharing the screen.
Þú ert ekki að deila skjánum.
Það er ekki. Oh,
I'm not sharing the screen, so just turn on your camera and we will.
Yes.
Hi, Valentína. Thank you for interesting presentation. So, just to make sure, your plan is to design, test, build, and sell the containers. It's not to operate them.
They are going to operate themselves. They're fully automated. Yes, we are. My team is designing containers that can function themselves, and it's going to be a system that actually controls the growth. We will have a robot that will do all the seeding and harvesting, and of course there will be some people behind the system that will monitor that everything is happening well and react to faults in the system, people who will do the maintenance. But the idea is that you just have a fully functioning automated farming unit that can be taken anywhere and work without.
But your company, Sorova, that one, you don't intend to be a vegetable producer. You intend to be a technological developer. Is that?
I would say that, yeah, our aim is to be more the technology. We are giving the opportunity for grocery stores to sell the produce under their own brand. So we are not going to be the owners of vegetables. We're just giving the solution to our customers. Yes, so we're more like a B2B solution.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask how flexible it is in terms of types of crops and amount? Like if it doesn't sell today, can we change out this kind of salad and do a different type tomorrow? Or next week?
Okay, so I'll take that
Thomas
question.
will answer the question. He's on my team also.
So the container can grow a variety of different produce, but if you seed it, it's going to grow and then you want to sell it, but you can keep it in the container until you want to sell it. It stays in the growing environment. It does not degenerate while waiting. Instead, when produce is coming from Reykjavik to Akureyri, for example, it starts degenerating as soon as you remove it from the nutrient uptake. So even though you don't need it today, you can just keep it until tomorrow to see if the demand increases, and we will aim to have the container grow a variety of produce as the customers want that.
That is another benefit of the environment control system, that we can actually provide the right environment to also kind of store the plants until they are harvested.
Thank you.
Jæja. Takk kærlega fyrir, Valentína.
Thank you for your questions. Yeah.
Þá það Matt. Matt með geothermal ginger og hann ætlar að segja ykkur frá því núna.
Yeah, hello. My name is Matthew Wickstrom. I moved here with my wife and daughter this summer, and we moved here to open a restaurant out in the Eyjafjallajökull countryside, and then kind of had the dream that I wanted to share with you today. Let me share the screen with you here. don't know if you can see that slide there. Is that coming up okay?
Yep.
Yes, great.
Yeah, so geothermal ginger is kind of the first of our kind of the representation and first of our products that we want to focus on. And what we want to do is produce ginger in North Iceland and produce a really product that's just focused on environmentally sound practices, sustainably farmed. And we kind of chose ginger because you can use it in any cuisine, and it's such a flexible product that we felt like could be the speaker of what North Iceland is and can be moving forward as a innovator in farming technology and sustainable farming going into the future. So not only the farming, which we want to take old cow houses and then implant vertical farming inside old kind of abandoned cow houses in the countryside instead of kind of building new greenhouses. And there we will grow the ginger with geothermal energy. And then from there, using kind of my skill set to make really high-end craft products that we can tell our story with and through. So anything from pickled ginger to Icelandic ginger ale, using wild herbs to make kombucha and health products, candies, fresh and dried ginger. It's kind of a limitless products that you can use in every type of cuisine, like I mentioned earlier. The process that we want to take, just because it's our natural skill set, is we want to start in high-end restaurants, kind of here in Iceland and in all of the Nordics to begin with, and give them our products, both the raw ginger, but really still focusing on our craft products that they can use easily and quickly in their cuisine. From there, marketing in the tourist market, so that, you know, basically a quick bloodline to the world to tell our story of how we are using old methods with farming, while also really moving into the future with sustainability and telling that story and showing that it can be done with this product. And then from there, you know, really growing into the grocery markets and exporting to other countries. A benefit that kind of separates us is our product line. We really want to focus, and what's been great about this weekend is lending focus to our project. We've made some great connections and some mentors who can help us focus on sustainable farming and intelligence and new ways to do that. So it's been really beneficial through this whole process. Our natural kind of skill set that we have is to expand into the craft product line to tell the story. And we still want to keep the focus on sustainability through packaging and delivery and all of those different aspects of producing products. So the obvious advantages are going to be cutting down on imports and the carbon footprint in that way, and obviously growing locally and spreading the message of innovative farming in North Iceland through our product. So yeah, just a bit of a review. Like, we want to really put North Iceland on the map, because what is inspiring us is how people have already looked ahead at farming here, but we want to take a product that is globally used, recognized, and loved, and produce it here in a way that no one has done before, and then take that product and make craft products out of it that people can have at their house, at their sushi nights or pizza nights, and use this product that they can read about and really be inspired by how it's produced and how it's thoughtful through every single step of production and sale. A goal of farming is to be biodynamic, which in my mind is kind of going beyond organic, and it's almost going back to old world farming and using methods that, you know, following the natural cycle of the seasons, and using old methods of fertilization.
Thank you, Matt.
So our goal is to start with the geothermal ginger, and from there, really expand into the other products.
Great, thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Judges?
One question from me. You talk about old cow houses and using geothermal energy. What about light or illumination requirements for production of ginger?
Yeah, I mean, there would obviously be modifications that we would have to make moving into some of these houses. I think that the benefit of using the old cow houses will outweigh the negative side. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of efficiency issues that will need addressed, but I think that, you know, using the old houses, we can move in lights, and we've already talked to, you know, some people that we met through this whole process that have talked to us about how we can, you know, install what we need to in these old houses and make it efficient and energy sustainable.
How long does it take to produce ginger from, you know, the beginning and until you can sell the product?
Yeah, it's a product that takes a little bit to start growing. We've already started a small crop, but it takes around 6 months to get your first crop. So for us, our scale up is really, you know, waiting on moving into some of these spaces. And from there, we would start with a few, you know, simple craft products, like things like pickled ginger that are, you know, commonly used, and dried ginger for spices, and probably like our like Icelandic geothermal ginger ale, for example, that can be used immediately in bars and restaurants. So those products, we would just focus on, you know, a few that would really hit a large group of people with a small kind of start that we would obviously have to build on top of.
I'm also wondering, because ginger isn't, imported ginger isn't very expensive.
No.
So I'm thinking about the cost effectiveness of growing it. I love the idea, it's not that. I'm just, you know, the cost effectiveness of growing it here. Will it, does it mean that it will be very expensive, or?
What we want to do is that is a factor, is that ginger is a cheap product. What we want to do with our initial focus of marketing is hit the tourist crowd and the high-end restaurants. So in our minds, our raw product will be a little more per kilo than what you could buy at Bonus, for example. What is going to come with that is some high-end marketing, for example. And I mean, we take like kind of examples from, like, you know, the Nordic wasabi guys, and they've done a great job at marketing. But what separates us from that concept is our craft product that we're going to produce and that we're going to focus on. We do have the production side, which is what we're passionate about, which is the sustainable farming and innovating and finding new ways to do that in cost-effective ways and energy effective ways. But the craft product is what we, you know, will really focus on getting out to everybody.
Can I have this one question? Can you, when you say us, could you tell me and us a little bit about who your team includes?
Yeah, so I am, once I moved up here, I'm at Ungolstaðir 3 at Lampen. So we put a restaurant called Thimble Cafe in here, and I met our neighbor Einar at Cafe Ku, and he has a kitchen that that I've been working with him on kind of building out that we can use for production. That I can go in there and basically build all these craft products, you know. So once the growth starts, I can produce all the craft products in there and recipes and that sort of thing, and for retail production. So we're using his kitchen.
Thank you, Matt. All right, now it's time for our last team. Það er komið að síðasta teiminu og þau heita Traveling Chef Presents. Gjörið þið svo vel.
Já, góðan daginn. So, a traveling chef presents a 2019 study from Mattersson shows that 90 kilograms of food are wasted per person per year, which equals to 60,000 Icelandic krona from our pockets. And if we combine this for the population of Reykjavik, this amounts to 4.5 billion Icelandic kronas, which is a crazy amount. So to change this, we, me, Marco, Camilla, Maria, and Juraj believe that the change must come from within, especially from the younger generation, which move out from their homes to study and work, and see, for example, fast food as an easy solution to approach, and food leftovers are seen as something bad that needs to be destroyed or not reused. So we propose practical teaching that can raise awareness about food waste. Our idea is, we come to you, we cook together, you eat the food for free. A traveling chef comes with a pop-up event to a young audience. He guides them to have a healthier and meaningful relationship with food by giving them simple tools to eat from the leftovers and to cook from the leftovers and perishable food. This event will be held in the winter season, where the participants provide the food leftovers, and supermarkets and companies could provide food donations, and also farmers, for example, which allow then the schools and the communities to have a free lunch and dinner, which is an event where young people can get a feeling for food and free guidance from an expert. And yay, in the end, why not reduce food waste and build healthier food habits? So combining all these ingredients, we will have 60 fun events spread all over the north of Iceland. Our team of expert chefs, Dora Svavasdottir and Cornel Popa, are passionate about reducing food waste and would love to join our project. They are experts in cooking and coordinating, for example, the slow food youth movement in Iceland, and cooking from everything, improvisation cooking classes. We have estimated the costs to roughly 2.2 million Icelandic kronas for the 60 pop-up events, which include the chef's salary, project manager, accommodation, transportation, and marketing with a marge for additional expenses. The source of the funding will be provided from the public sector for the teaching part, which includes the instructor or the chef cook. From the private sector, for example, the forefront sustainable shops like Kronan or Netto, which provide food donation and marketing, and partners and volunteers from the local communities and towns to make this event reality. So you will be able to see soon pop up in your pop-up free class, free fun, free meal in your local town and neighborhood. Thank you.
Marco, hér er vel dómarar í spurninga.
So, yeah, nobody else is asking, so I will ask. I'm the only one without a video, so I have to restart my computer, so it doesn't work. Thank you for your presentation. You are thinking about free, aren't you? Is that the only business model you are thinking about? Only to try get funding from public and private sectors and keep it free? Or charge
the idea
even?
No, the idea is not to charge because it should be an event where young people can learn for free, and if they bring also some of their leftovers and ingredients, they will get a healthy meal afterwards. So the free is important also to motivate the young people to join. It's something which builds up for the future, and it should not be something which we don't want to earn money with this model. It's for long-term working on reducing food waste and a healthier relationship to food from young people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understood the idea. My question was rather if you foresee another business model in continuation. Let's say that this is really successful.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be a business?
Yeah, probably. We were thinking about an idea of then building up a center in local towns where it's something like a food lab where people can join in the kitchen and have a fixed instructor there and join in for maybe a monthly fee, like a Fab Lab is structured up. But
exactly what I was thinking about.
We were not.
Yeah.
We will try this first before we will get further steps. There is no point in making like projection where we don't know how this will be. How the reaction will be in the youth.
Yeah.
So that's why we want to experiment this idea.
Glæsilegt. Eru þið með fleiri spurningar? Vel eftir og þakkum við þér kærlega fyrir, Marko. Og þá kynningunum lokið og dómarar þurfa að fara og ráðum sínum.
Já, þetta verður ekki auðvelt val.
Nei, nákvæmlega.
Flottar kynningar.
Já, takk kærlega til allra teymanna.
Já, bestu þakkir fyrir kynningar og bara alla vinnuna, vinnuna sem eru búin að leggja á okkur helgina, vera með okkur.
Já.
Mjög gott.
Og við snúum tilbaka í kringum 16:30 með niðurstöðurnar.
Akkurat.
Þannig að bestu þakkir fyrir.